My husband, 22 male, and I, 22 female, have been together since we were 15. We have lived together since 17, and we got married at 19. We're both currently in college. Our finances have never been the greatest. He had a rough home life and I helped him through a lot. At 18 we started a joint bank account so that he would have access to my money, as he had quit his job. I had a steady full-time job at the time, so I was relatively stable. Up until recently, he was always been unstable with his employment. He was unemployed for large periods at a time. He would work random jobs for a 1 to 2 month before quitting. The longest time was when he was 19 and had caught a simple possession charge and couldn't find employment. I completely supported him through it, even paying his court fees. Long story short, I have always been the primary breadwinner, buying his weed, paying his phone, etc. Even before we were married. He also has not had a car for the vast majority of this, he drove mine. I did support him, not always happily. I did become very frustrated, but I loved him and ultimately wanted to be there for him. I would even pick up extra hours, and at some points even a second job to support us. Well, in March 2022, he got a full-time job at the university we go to, making a lot more money than me. I was so happy and proud of him. I was able to step back on my hours and focus on my difficult course load, medical field. I only worked 15 to 20 hours per week this fall as opposed to my usual 35 plus. Well, now he says he wants separate bank accounts. He complains sometimes that I work too little and says he wants financial independence, that he just wants his own money. He says he'll send me money if I need it, but he wants his own account where he can manage his own money. Honestly, I've been really against it. I understand wanting financial independence, but I never got that option. When I made more money than him, I never restricted access. I'm hurt honestly. He always assured me he'd support me when he had money, but now that he does, it's not feeling that way. But I don't know if I'm being logical or coming from a place of resentment. When I contested, he said, "Well, I'm fixing my finances with or without you. You can come with me or not," and said he's doing it no matter how I feel. Honestly, you might as well just separate finances at this point. Considering his history, he won't keep his job for long and you've supported him enough. Cut the cord before he starts using you again. I'm sorry to say this, but it sounds like he was just using you to get along in life. He wasn't held accountable for anything or any decisions because he has his mom making them for him. Now his wife is. Definitely separate your finances. Credit cards, bank accounts, everything. Then when he starts to have trouble with money again, it won't negatively affect you or your credit, unless the things that he doesn't pay are in your name. He is showing you who he is. Rather than being generous and supporting you, especially since you supported him for so long, he instead wants to be selfish and keep the money for himself. Speak with a divorce attorney to find out your rights. Set a budget and have him deposit the appropriate amounts into your joint account. The rest is his separately. You'll soon see how he really feels about you. Don't bail him out next time. And stop paying for anything for him. He can buy his own weed. He sounds like a selfish child. He considered himself entitled to you supporting him while he couldn't be bothered to keep a job. Now things are going well for him and he doesn't care about you at all. You see this marriage as a team. He doesn't. He's shown you who he is. Please don't waste years of your life sacrificing yourself for this person because you're pretending he's the person you want him to be. So he can spend all your money but you can't touch his? I second some of the advice on here. Do separate your finances because sounds like you'll need a getaway at some point. Take all the money you started with from the beginning out, and what you have been depositing and put it in your own separate account. Because he thinks he's somebody now, so he is taking his marital funds to spend on other women. He used you to better himself and now he thinks he's too good for you. Get a lawyer ASAP. Say nothing, play the game, and him give you a large monthly amount for a few months to establish alimony. Hate to agree with everyone here, but financial incompatibility is a deal breaker in a relationship. Regardless of your past, you both need to be on the same page with how finances are managed and spent. If not, there is no hope of avoiding resentment. Speak to a divorce lawyer about your rights. If not to divorce yet, but to understand your local laws regarding the division of assets. You call it supporting, I call it enabling. Covering bills for a month or two after an unexpected layoff is one thing, carrying his weight for years is enabling. Now that he's making money, he developed a case of, what's yours is ours, but what's mine is mine alone. I would not want to be married to this guy and risk being liable to his crappy money managing. He will get used to having money now, and when he next quits, will probably keep up his spending by cutting into your finances or running up a credit card. Your feelings are valid and you need to be careful. Typical case of, what's yours is mine, but what's mine is mine. He had no problem with joint account when he needed your support, and all of a sudden he wants his own? And how dare he say you don't work enough considering how much you've done for him over the years? I'd be very, very pissed off. Consider separating finances, but not for him, just in case you need to separate from him, and next time something goes wrong, don't pay for everything, let him be independent like he wants to be now. Damn, you helped build a man up, and now that he has some legs and money to stand on, he's using those legs and money to get away. Best separate everything and prepare yourself for the inevitable split. Maybe he really does just want to learn how to manage his own money, but his attitude about it sucks. Wouldn't be surprised if he eventually tries to split from you. Men who came from nothing and had a woman see him at his lowest don't often stick around after making it. Usually because they don't want to be reminded of it and they can now find someone new since they aren't struggling. He does seem to be very insecure every time we talk about the past. When I tell him how I feel, he just tells me we have to live in the present, but I can't just forget all those years. I set myself back from things I wanted to do for him at the ripe age of 18. Stupidly? Yes, but I did it. He hates talking about it, he hates thinking about it, he says it makes him feel like less of a man. But he can't just get insecure when I express my feelings. Incorrect. You had the option of financial independence, but you chose to let him have access to your account. This is a you problem. He is an adult and can have his own account if he likes and seems to be the smart one since having your own account is important. Sorry, I know it hurts, but that's the truth. Forcing him into having one joint account is controlling. Wow. I'd only agree to separate finances once he pays you back for all the costs you shouldered during his years of not working. I would start doing some math and send him the bill. What you agreed to do for him is on you. If he wants to separate finances, it's absolutely valid. Unfair, probably, a-holish too, as he probably wants his money to himself now that he has some, but refusing it is also a bad move. Separate finances and see what happens. Make sure to draw out a clear budget. For instance, he pays for rent and utilities and you wire him half every month. Grocery shopping is on you one week and him the other, and the extras are on the one who can afford it, etc. And just try. I think you did baby him too much, so this may be his redemption arc or on the contrary his fall. But you have to try to know. Honestly, your husband sounds like a complete loser. He can't hold a job, doesn't provide for you guys, can't stop smoking weed, etc. I would only say separate your finances to protect yourself. When he inevitably loses or quits that job, then his money will run out and your money tree will be gone. Please leave this man and no matter what, do not have his kid. You sound like you have a good head on your shoulders who let love blind them on occasion. Please divorce this loser. You both need to have a serious talk about how this split is going to happen. Is he going to be covering all the bills like you did when he was underemployed while you keep what you earn for yourself? Will you both contribute equal percentages to a joint account to cover shared bills? Maybe it is better to split everything out and get a divorce while you are both low earning. In all likelihood, he'll go back to his work/bad habits and you'll be stuck supporting him again. You should have separate finances. If you can't make the relationship work with separate finances, then you wouldn't have made it work with joint finances. This way it will be easier for you to protect yourself if or when he becomes a dependent again. And this is why you never stop having individual bank accounts. A joint account or many joint accounts to manage the relationship finances, but everyone should have their own bank account that their own money goes into, and the amount needed to cover the relationship expenses gets transferred out. While I get you did what you did because he didn't have any money, and you thought you were fixing the situation and that it would be reciprocated by him in the future when he got a job, all you did was make him financially dependent on you. How he went about this is completely wrong. He should have come to you and discussed it, saying he wanted to learn how to be financially responsible, and that he now has a chance to do that. He should have worked on a relationship budget with you, working out ratios based on earnings. For the different expenses, you both should have gotten new accounts, changing the current one into the relationship joint account. This way he could have still been in control of his financial situation and still support you and keep the relationship healthy. Other than you both needing to sit down and talk, not sure what else you can do. Tell him that you will separate your bank accounts as soon as he has paid you back the share of costs that you covered in previous years. And that after you separate bank accounts, going forward, you will divide expenses based on relative income, or some other measure that is fair to both of you. This is why you require adults to be responsible for their own money, earning and paying their bills. Let him. Make sure you take care of your own finances. However, you may notice more distance. He may have been using you partially. You won't know for sure until you step out on your own financially too. Separate bank account is safer and protects both of you. Keeps your savings safe. Use the joint account for bills. How you split them, that's another issue. I do hope he will return the favor and pay a higher percentage of the bills since he earns more. This is where the relationship ends if he isn't being fair on what he pays. And if you start earning more when you get a job in the medical field, and he's like, let's join finances, don't. He may have an attitude of what yours is his, and what mine is just mine.